Guys, we're going to bring on our next speaker. And again, power of P, persistence. Met Joe a couple of years ago, Strength to Succeed. I think, was it 2019, was it? I think it was 2019. And he was there. And again, a person that was in that room who absolutely took the value from that, and again, is now on his own journey, enlightening others. Like I say, it's people who've been in where you are, been sat in the same seats, is now taking the information that's been given and literally going on their own journey and purely being able to share nuggets of how much it's impacted them. And again, I know Joe's, what he'll talk about will impact you guys as well. Guys, without further ado, let's get the main man himself. What an absolute legend for being here, Joe Hilton!
Is this turned on now, yeah? Perfect. I was all right and I was calm until they put this on me. Now I'm shitting my pants a little bit, so... Right, I'm just going to dive straight in. And to be honest with you, the start, you'll think, where's he going with this? But it literally... Can we see that? Right. This was me 3 years ago, sat there. What's the fucking point in this? Why am I here? Not just this event, in life in general. Why am I here? I'm sick of this. There's got to be more to life than this. Is this all there is? This was just questions, just on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And then I was sat where yous were, and I was listening to this stuff, this personal growth stuff, this personal development stuff, and I was like, it's all right, this actually, I quite like this. And then it just sort of kick-started this, like, lit this passion where I was like, right, I want to do better. I want to do more. And it's weird because now I've gone from there, and now I'm sitting in front of you, and it's like, bloody hell, what's happened? But I'm going to take you through my journey a little bit, and hopefully give you some little pointers as well of what you can take away and take from this, really. So, my name's Joe Hilton. I work for the NHS full-time currently. I'm now involved partly, 50% owner of a company called Semester, which is personal growth for students, and the founder of Joe Blogs Talks. Now, Joe Blogs, meaning ordinary or everyday lad. And honestly, that's exactly what I see myself as. It's strange, when I sat here watching the speakers many years ago, there was one guy in particular who really stood out, a guy called Mike Lancaster. I don't know if you've watched him, but he had such a powerful story, and he's a great guy. He's done so many great things. And I remember listening to his story thinking, fucking hell, like, he's been through so much trauma, so much sort of quite life-changing events that had happened, and I was thinking, I've had nothing of that. Like, why do I feel like this? And when I say typical or ordinary everyday lad, I did what, like, everybody did, I thought. I went to school, I went to college, I went to university, I got my degree, I was doing all right. I went out with the lads on the drink, I went to football, I just did what everyday lads did, I thought. But I remember leaving university, and I just hit this, like, place where I was just, these thoughts of, what's the point? Like, why am I here? I left university, and I just felt like, why have I even done that? This is not where I want to go. I don't want to do this. I felt I had no purpose, and I'll talk about that shortly, but it really, really got me, and I really, really struggled with it, and it sort of set me on this journey now through the different things that I've been involved with. So I'm going to start with you straight away. So if you've got pens and paper, please get them out because you're going to be involved. But my top tips for getting started in personal development. There you go. By the way, my presentation skills, I've realised when I was watching the lady before, I was like, yeah, my presentation's not that nice. But anyway, we've got to go with it. So first one is goals, right? So I've got a map there, and I've got a stuck in the mud picture as well, and it's got relevance. But essentially, when I left university, when I first left, I remember thinking, where am I going? What am I doing? And I'd blagged through life a little bit, really, because I'd got the degree, but I'd never set goals. And I'd done all right in sport, but I'd never set goals. And I remember talking about feeling lost and not knowing where I was going, but I had no direction at all. And when I started reading personal development, the first thing was set goals and think of it in the sense of a map. If you set off in a destination in your car and you're going somewhere, but you don't have a map, you don't know where you're going to get lost. And it's the same thing with goals, because goals give you direction. They give you something to aim for. So for me, I kept having this feeling of, I kept saying, I feel stuck, I don't know where I'm going, I feel stuck. And it was this idea of, I didn't know what I was aiming for. So if I didn't know what I was aiming for, I'm going to feel stuck. And the same thing goes with yourselves. If you've got nothing to aim for, you potentially might feel those feelings, because goals give us drive, they give us something to aim for. So it's really important. Now, what I want to do, to start with, I'm going to share you my biggest goal. So my biggest goal this year is I work for the NHS full time. My job's great, but my biggest drive is to do this full time, is to do Joe Blogs full time. I just want you to start with just a little task, and it's nice and simple. I just literally want you to write on your piece of paper, my biggest goal is. And just take 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever it might be now, just to write that down on the top of your paper. And I'll get a drink because my mouth's dry as anything. And we'll come back to these at the end as well. The other thing there, you'll see that 42%. The reason I've put that down is there's studies now which are showing that by simply just doing the task of writing your goals down, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. It's something to do with the program in our brain, which essentially sets our focus in that direction. There was a study showing, rather than just thinking about them, get them wrote down. Like, my missus thinks I'm a lunatic because I've got goals everywhere. I've got like a whiteboard at home, goals on. Like, I've got things on my phone, goals on. Like, every day I'm talking about goals. She's like, you're mad, you. But I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm writing them down every day in my journal. I'm writing my goals down. So that's a big bit of advice. Start writing things down. The second bit is your why. Now, the lady before me mentioned it there, and I thought it was brilliant, that North Star. And for me now, again, I'll always use university as an example, but this feeling of lostness, I didn't know why I was here, and it sounds a little bit out there, but for me, I always felt like there was more purpose, like I had more to give, and obviously, I feel stuck. I set off on this journey, and when I started getting into this stuff, I started posting about it, I started talking about it, started doing things like this, and my why became, I don't want people to feel the way that I felt. And what the people we've been impacting, which I'll get to shortly with my friend, what I do the podcast with, etc. We've been helping men like ourselves. Like, we know, people will have talked about it. There's massive suicide rates. It's a massive problem. And for me, my why now is I don't want people to feel the same way that I felt. So if I can inspire as many people as I can through the talks that we do, through the work that we do, that to me gives me drive every day. And you can't put a price on that, like that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You get that little sense of like internal, like, oh, I feel good. You get that little dopamine hit when you get a message, and there's definitely an element of, yeah, you know what, it makes me feel good, but I can't put a price on it. I do this stuff for free, and like we have been so far. So that is me. It's a massive why for me. So again, oh, sorry about that. I see that cartoon there, by the way. You'll get to see that in a second. The next one is, why is this so important to me? So go back to your goal again and just have a little think about it. Just list some ideas of like, why is this goal so important to me? Because once you start understanding why, it gives you, again, it's that drive, it gives you that internal sort of pull to, like, okay, this is why I want to achieve this. And it's really, really important. Everyone's got stuff down. Right, cartoon poo. That's how good my presentations are. I've done a cartoon poo, honestly. I was watching a lady before and I thought, I can't believe I've got a cartoon poo on my PowerPoint, but here we go. Right, so the next one is work on your mindset and inner dialogue. Now, again, if you think about what I was saying at the start, what's the point in all this? There's got to be more. That was part of it. But it got significantly worse than that. I called it negative. It's called negative rumination. So what might start as, what's the point in this? Just spiraled and spiraled to the point where I was at like, right, I'm going to kill myself. Like, it really was there to there. This is how like intense this got. So the first thing that I had to start doing was challenging that and going against that and understanding it and working with it. So as one of my big sort of bits of advice is, start recognizing that language, start recognizing what you're saying to yourself. And I'll talk about journaling again towards the end, but it's massive. Like for me, I started writing about what I was thinking, and then that was allowing me to see it out in front of me, and then change that dialogue and try and think more positively, essentially, in a nutshell. Challenge fear. Now, this is something that, for me, I only really learned when I got into the personal development stuff, but how much we're driven by fear. And often it's fear of what other people will think, fear of failure, fear what if this doesn't go right. And for me, a big personal milestone was last year I wrote a book. That's what that photo is. It's the book that became a counsellor. And it's this idea of journaling and what all this type of stuff that I was doing, which I was writing down, etc. But I remember when it came to the release of it, I was literally like, oh no. And every imaginable bit of inner dialogue was going on. Like, who are you to write a book? Like, what if nobody buys it? What if it's shit? And like, put your hands up if you've ever faced that inner critic at times when it comes to doing something. Yeah, literally most of the room. We all do it and we all have it, but you've got to challenge it. And it's not always easy. And there's still times that I'm like, you know what? Like, prior to coming up, that's the cartoon poo. Because I knew I was going to be shitting myself a little bit, but I thought I'll just put a nice little cartoon poo on there to remind me. But I didn't need reminding because as soon as this come on, I was like, right, okay, I'm now starting to panic. But you've got to do it anyway. You've got to get up and you've got to do it because it's only then when you do such stuff that you'll start to grow and go on in life, essentially. And I remember this. I've got this here, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It's a book. I haven't actually read the full book. I read a snippet of it. It's Bronnie Ware. And she talks about one of the biggest regrets of people dying on the deathbed is not living a life true to yourself. And I remember reading that and thinking, bloody hell, like, imagine getting to 80, 90-year-old or whatever it might be and looking back and thinking, like, I haven't lived the life I wanted to because of all of this stuff, like fear what people might think, like fear of other people's opinion, like all this fear-based mentality, and you've not lived the life that you wanted to live, or you were scared to run your own business or try your own business because fear that it might fail. And I just thought, you know what, like I do not want that to be me. So we've definitely got room for growth, and there's always room for growth, but there was like, there's no way I'm not going to try this now. So this is where like Joe blogs stem from as well. Right. Next question. What am I afraid of? How can I overcome this? And what this is, again, doing as well, and I'll come and talk about this at the end, but what I'm trying to get you to do now is they're essentially journaling, but it's getting you to think of things. So if you write down what am I afraid of, and that might be fear of what people might think. How can I overcome this? It's then starting to make you think in a way, right, okay, what can I do differently? How can I think differently? It's about changing that mindset. It's about changing that inner dialogue. I'll come back to these at the end as well. And I'm hoping someone will share some of their answers as well. But it's just, when it comes to journaling or writing, there's hundreds, there's thousands of questions you can be asking yourself, really, and just taking that time to answer them effectively, and you'll start to uncover your own answers, and it's really quite powerful. All right. Next one. Oh. Be yourself. So this is another tip that I wanted to talk about. This one, I remember this one. That's, by the way, that's Josh. That's the guy I do the podcast with, and I'll talk about him at the end. But he's literally like, he's just amazing what he's done. He's fantastic. But I remember this. We started a podcast and we were interviewing people, and my dad turned around to me and was like, "Joe, will you stop swearing? There's no need to be swearing." And like, just really getting at me about certain things that I was doing and talking about, and I was like, right, okay. So I remember doing we interviewed a guy. It was I don't know if you've heard of him, the tax man, Brian Cockrell, and we interviewed him anyway, and he was like effing and jeffing, and we were talking and all this type of stuff. And I remember just trying to talk proper, and I was like, and then I watched it back at the end, and I was like, oh my God, you sound horrendous. What are you doing? And it's because I'd got in my head from my dad going, right, don't swear, don't be yourself. Like, I was thinking, no. So my massive bit of advice is be yourself. You've got to be yourself, because I think the lady actually mentioned it earlier. Someone was saying, what advice would you give if you were to start doing social media talks and things? Just be yourself, because if you're not, you'll get found out. So I'm just like, now, you know what? I do swear a bit too much sometimes. My presentation skills aren't great. I do cartoon poos, but that's who I am. So it's just being yourself. Next bit is stop comparing yourself to others. That's the little Instagram sign there. We live in a world just filled with perfect now, don't we? It's amazing, isn't it? You turn around and you look and like every perfect couple and everyone's doing fantastic and it's amazing. You're like, why am I not like that? And the truth is, Instagram's just a highlight reel. That's all it is. It's people's best bits. Everybody's life looks perfect. It's not that at all. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You're on your journey. Look up to these people. There's, like I say, I've talked about Mike Lancaster. There's people like Steve, these people who I look up to these people. I don't compare myself and think, oh man, I'm not as good as them. I want to be like them. I want to be as good as them. So look at these people as motivation, but you're all on your own journeys. Everybody's on their own journey, and your only competition is literally yourself. And on that point as well, don't be afraid to ask for Helly. It's meant to be help, I think. Oh, it's there. It's that one. It's that thing. I couldn't see behind there. I was thinking, oh, what's that? But yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Honestly, things like coaching, support groups, community. I was just talking to Gareth there. There's a fantastic group, Walk and Talk, that he runs, and it's been so profound for people. Like being in this room, like talking to people, getting in this environment. Like I love it, me. I just love being around, talking to people at the back there. It's just a positive atmosphere. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Get around these types of people as well. So that's my next tip. Right. Okay, this is where I do get a little bit, my life's not perfect here. So, right. This, for me, is one of the best bits of advice I've ever heard. Progress, not perfection. And it's one of my, arguably my favourite speaker, Tony Robbins. Has anyone heard of Tony Robbins? He's fucking amazing, isn't he? He's incredible. I love him. And I remember hearing this, right? And progress, not perfection. And if I think about certain things, right? So I've just got that journal there. That's something that myself and Josh have created. And I think back to the book. And I remember writing the book and writing chapters, and I was changing everything. Like just before it come to release, I was I'm going to change that bit, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take that out. I don't think that works. And I was literally just sending myself loopy for about 2 months. It should have been released quicker than it was, but it was fear. It was all fear because I was going, oh, what if people don't like this bit, and trying to please everybody and not being myself and taking this out and doing this. And I was like, no, I can't. The only way I will know if this is all right or if it's not all right is by doing it. So I just thought, you know what, progress, not perfection. Same thing with speaking. I'll probably watch this back if it's on record and I think, oh, I could have done that. I might have done this. It's not as competent a speaker as some people, but the only way you can get better at whatever it is that you do is just take action, is getting up and doing it. So I'm a big believer in that type of stuff. There's a beer there and cigarettes there now. This is the part where I talk about how I'm not perfect. So if you'd have looked at, like I say, 3 years ago, I say I was an everyday lad. I was probably a little bit worse than that. But I was very much, when I left university, in order to, let's say, forget the fact that I hated my Monday to Friday, forget the fact that I had no purpose. It was literally, right, get a Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, drink all weekend, like just out. Sometimes Wednesday as well, midweek. If I'd had a bad Monday, it was like, right, got to go out Wednesday. Binge drinking non-stop. Now, last year, I didn't drink 3 days in a row at all. The most I drank was 2, and that was on holiday. So I was like, that's progress. Currently, I'm doing 90 days alcohol free. I'm on day 52, I think. It's not even bothering me. I think I'll go longer. So if you look at the person I was, alcohol was starting to negatively affect my life, essentially. If I look at that person, significant progress. And it's the same thing what I will say to people again. Just try and make progress, whatever it is. Just get started. The reason I've got cigarettes there is I wasn't going to put this one on, but I thought, no, Joe Blogs is about being honest. And I think Dean said it earlier, and I thought, you know what? That's bang on, and I've not been putting enough focus into it. So I've made progress with the business, the journal, the book. I've made all this great progress. I've took a hold of alcohol. I'm training more than I've ever done. I ran 2 marathons the other week, back to back, and I feel great, but I've still not fully kicked smoking, and it's something that I can't blame anybody else for. I used to smoke 20 a day. I probably smoke 20 a month now on social occasions, but I thought, you know what? It still needs work. My life isn't perfect. I've got work I absolutely need to do, and I know I need to put more energy into that. And I suppose the message that I'm trying to get to people with this is a little bit of me, especially, again, this is the internal dialogue and the inner dialogue. A little bit of me thought when I started doing this stuff, you know what? I'm a bit of a fraud because everything's not perfect with me. And I look at some of these amazing coaches and they've got everything worked out, all the shit's together. Like, how can I talk about this stuff? Again, it's just that inner dialogue. It's that inner dialogue. And then I think, you know what? Everything about Joe Blogs is we aren't perfect, but we're just trying to do better. And if I look at myself, again, from all these years ago, I am doing better. And I want to give that message to you as well. Just get started. Whatever it is you're thinking about doing, whether it's a business, whether it's getting to the gym, whatever it might be, just start and make progress as you go, essentially. So that's that one. Right. Never stop learning. Right, this is a massive one for me. So, you'll have heard some podcasts, people will have mentioned some books, and there's different things, and for me, it's massive, right? We've got to be throwing ourselves into this stuff every day. Like, if you're wanting to do better, like for me, audiobooks every day on the journey up the way here. On the way up, I'm listening to top 10 tips on public speaking, right? So I'm like, yeah, I want to take that in. I want to take that in. And I'm just things like this all the time. Just right, what can I learn? How can I do better? Honestly, I cannot stress enough to people. Just throw yourself into this stuff. Read as many books as you can. There's apps. There's something called Blinkist. I don't know, has anyone heard of Blinkist? Or it's like they basically break books into small reads. I'm things like now, if I'm queuing at the hairdressers, sat in the thing, I'm on Blinkist reading stuff, and my missus thinks I'm mad, but I'm like, you know what, like I want to be reading something each day, listen to something positive that's gonna help me, and it's massively changed my mindset, it's massively helped me. Another one, assess your environment. Again, two really nice pictures. There's a bucket of crabs, and that's something to do with something called crab mentality, and it's this idea of if you can't have it, neither can I. There's going to be people at whatever journey you're on who's trying to pull you down and stop you doing things. You don't want to be brought down by these people. You want to push yourself, get around the right people. Assessing your environment's massive. For me, a big part of being here today is getting around people who are sat in this room, like people who are wanting to make change, people who are wanting to do better. Like, look at your environment, look at people around you, and really think how it can serve you. So for me, if I want to get better at public speaking, getting around good public speakers. Joe Blogs Talks, it was a hobby. It's been a hobby for a number of years. We're trying to make it into a business now. If I was to be totally honest with myself, I'm crap at business. I don't know. But this year, I'm like, right, I'm getting around these people. I'm messaging people on LinkedIn. I met with a guy last week. It was amazing. He runs 7 businesses. And I was just like that, like listening to him, taking everything in, just literally, right, what can I learn off him? How can I do better? That's what you got to do. If you're looking to achieve something, get around these people. So next question, who could you hang about with so achieving your goals seems natural? I hope I'm giving you enough time to answer the questions. I don't know, but we'll find out at the end if anyone's got any answers on that. Right, next one. Journal. Right. There's a reason there's a little pink diary there. I remember, right, when I first started getting into this stuff, a friend of mine come over from Australia, and he's really into all his spirituality and stuff, and he's a massive advocate of journaling. So I'm talking about journaling now. When I first got introduced to it, I was sat in the pub. I remember him. He was like, "You need to start journaling, Joe." And I was like, all right, yeah, nice one. I was like, I'm not a 5-year-old girl, do your diary. I was like, there's no chance I'm doing that. Life-changing, best thing I've ever done. Absolutely love it. So much so we've created our own with Joe Blogs because it's, we just love it. So it's a can you still hear me, by the way? Because this is both, yeah. A massive piece of advice is start journaling. Essentially what you're doing now, right, without even realising. There's guided journals. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can ask yourself a question each day and start writing. You can write down your feelings. You can write down your thoughts. But essentially what you're doing now by these questions and answering them is you're journaling because you create and you're directing your focus in a certain way. And that's what journaling is. The girl mentioned it last time. Again, writing 3 things that you're grateful for. Like all this journaling stuff, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create focus and energy. And Tony Robbins, again, he says, where focus goes, energy flows. So it's this idea of where you put your focus is where you direct your energy, essentially. It's where it gets energy. So journaling massively helps with this because what it's doing is it's getting you thinking about, right, okay, if you might write down your goal every day. You might write 3 key actions towards that goal. You might write your number 1 focus. There's so many different elements to journaling, but it's a massive, massive tool. So if you haven't journaled yet, just start looking at it, start exploring it, start really sort of looking into this idea, because for me, it's been absolutely life-changing, and I love it. So that's my next bit of advice. Right, next bit here. And this is a massive one. I think the girl again mentioned it on the last slide. She said fault versus responsibility. I remember, again, I'm going to use Mike Lancaster as an example of what his story was amazing, but what happened to him, it wasn't his fault, but he's taken full responsibility for his life now. He's a successful life coach. He's doing amazing things, and he's not at fault for what happened to him, but he's took full responsibility for how he's reacted to that, and now he's massively influencing people. It's the same thing with me. When I looked at myself there's an element of I thought the world owed me something, because I've been to university, I've done a degree, like I'm supposed to get a job of my dreams and be happy, and it's like this idea of this is what I'm owed, and it's not the case at all. Like, it was only when I took responsibility and thought, you know what, I want to change this. I want to do better. It's only when I took control of that and started changing that I started to see change. And the honest truth is, the same thing with smoking. I've got no one to blame. Absolutely no one to blame. I'm just not giving it enough importance, which I know seems crazy, but I've been focused on all the other stuff. Dean hit the nail on the head, absolute nail on the head. It's not been getting enough attention, but there's absolutely nobody to blame but myself. It's only you can do the work on whatever it is that you want to do. Only you can do the work. So that's my little "we need you" that thing in there. So, but it's the same. It is the principle. You've got to do the work if you want to make the changes. All right. Last question on the journaling. So, what is the one thing I can do today which is going to bring me closer to my goals? It's just one action, whatever that might be. If your goal is to lose weight, it might be to go for a walk. If it's to start a business, it might be explore Canva or business ideas. If it's whatever it might be one small action. But like I keep saying, the only way you're going to ever make change is by taking action. It's as simple as that. You can read, as much as I encourage reading books, as much as I encourage all this stuff. It's great and you should do it, but the only way you will see change is by getting up and taking action. It's as simple as that. All right. Just seeing how I'm doing for time. Right. So your one-page plan. Has anybody here answered all of those questions? I'm interested. Goal, why? What am I afraid of? Has anyone got a couple of answers? Because I'd like to see what people have you got them? Yeah?
Not all.
It's all right. No, don't worry. I'm just keen. I'd love to know.
Yeah. Don't need to tell them.
No, I want you to tell me if that's all right.
Okay. Just 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
So your goal, what's your goal?
Okay.
Hey, you've got some good notes though. I'm happy about that. So that's some good things.
I just happy to be happy with myself.
Yeah.
And with my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my goal.
Brilliant.
And second question,
Why is it so important to you?
to find peace
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
and like
Brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah.
And did you answer what you were afraid of or how you can overcome?
yeah. So it's fear to fail.
Yeah.
So if you progress, for example, a business and
Yeah.
something else, I think something.
It's all right. No, it's great that you're sharing that. And I'll just go to that last one. What's the one thing you can do today to bring you closer to that?
Just assess what, just sit and think about, like reflect all
Yeah.
information which you absorb today
Yeah.
and make some decisions, make goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Brilliant.
clarify for yourself.
Brilliant. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done for being brave. And I'm going to give you this now. Fantastic. Well done. So that's the Joe Blogs journal. So that's got all the guided and the goals.
Actually, after this meeting, I'm going to bookshop and buy.
Yeah, so you've got that now, and that'll help you with the stuff, with the goal setting, with the gratitude. And well done for sharing that, because that's really brave. Right, and I think this is my last slide, so apologies if I'm a little early. But it's just following us then. So, like I say, with Joe Blogs Talks, that's my partner Josh, who honestly is just amazing. I don't want to tell his story for him because it's his own journey, but he's 14 months sober now, doesn't drink anymore, nothing. Like he had quite a bit of a bad term, he had quite a lot of trauma, but he's literally turned his life around, and honestly, I'm so inspired by him every day. Like he helps me, and we just two everyday lads just talking about stuff, about not being perfect and just how we can help people, and we're driven by this type of stuff. So Joe Blogs Talks is the Instagram, Facebook, and we're on YouTube. Joe Hilton on LinkedIn. We're doing a men's mental health event coming soon as well, February the 10th, which we're going to be doing, like, it's going to be like speaking like this, but we're going to get guest speakers. We're going to be doing some exercises and things like that to hopefully help people. joeblogstalks.com. My book's on Amazon, the book that became my counsellor, and it goes into a little bit more detail about this type of stuff. Oh, I've lost my thingy. How'd that go? Oh, no. Can anyone eat? I'll just finish like this. I've done all right all the way through. Right, I'm just going to hold it here. Right, and then we've got the journal as well, which you can purchase through our Instagram as well. But I don't want to do a sales pitch and stuff. It's just so that you can, if you want to find anything else on us, you can do really. All right. But on that, and just to end as well, that question, what's the point? Like, I know that now. Like, I know why I'm here as well. So it's like, it's just brilliant, and I just love helping people. So thank you for listening. And if anyone's got any questions, fire away, and I'll do my best to answer them. All right.
Hold on. It's been recorded. I'm going to sit next to you. Hold on. Ooh.
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you say you've got a mental health event coming for men, can I ask where that's going to be?
Yeah, sorry, it's in Billingham at the Low Grange Community Centre.
Low Grange.
Yeah, if you follow the page, we're going to be putting some stuff out about it. We stupidly haven't started marking it yet, but we're going to.
And I just have one more. Are you looking for any speakers for men's mental health at that time?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Anybody else?
There's a hand there.
What's your role in the NHS? I just want to see if it kind of linked for what you do as a profession, your career, and then what you're doing now.
So my job title is a lifestyle practitioner, which I actually hate because, again, if I go back to that point of smoking, I get dead frustrated by it. But it's all about teaching. It teaches overweight kids about exercise and eating well, which, to be fair, I can preach about because I do them very well myself, to be fair. So, but that's what my... I worked in the NHS for 5 years. Prior to that, I did community stroke. I've did community physio and different roles, really, just out and about, driving about, helping people. It's pretty fun. Anybody else?
Put the hands up, don't be shy.
I know how early I'm far too early.
No, it's all good, mate. I've got a couple of questions for you. Just want to know from your first-hand experience, and to be fair, like, say, similarities with you and Simran, you've come to Strength to Succeed before.
Yeah.
If you can take yourself back to 2019, how did you feel when you were in the room on the other side of it, and what were you thinking? What were the emotions that you were going through and the thoughts?
Well, day one was that, what's the point? Why am I here? What's this going to do type of thing. Day two was like, I need a bit of this in my life. Listening to people speak, like I say, it was just inspiring, because what I think the biggest thing for me was realising that, you know what, there's change out there. You can make changes. I think sometimes we get particularly very much, I talk about victim mentality, but I think we get so consumed in our own thoughts and processes and challenges sometimes that we sometimes struggle to see a way out. And then when I was sat on this side and watching people speak and seeing what people have done, realising everybody is on their own journey, realising that, you know what, everybody's got so much more potential, there's so much more we can do. So it literally kickstarted this journey for me, and it's just exciting.
What was the first thing that you started implementing off the back of Strength to Succeed?
Oh, action. Without doubt. Reading books, consuming them, to the point now I still consume it. Like that lady before me, she a brilliant point on the Vicky Patterson stuff. I've never heard it before, and I was like, right, nugget, I love that. I'm obsessed with it. I am literally obsessed with this type of stuff. It's every day, it's listening to something. It's like I've listened to a lot of it now, And there's still little nuggets, there's still stuff coming out there. So just for me, it's just throw yourself in it. Just throw yourself in it. Whatever it is that you want to do, just throw yourself in. Throw yourself in at the deep end. Steve will tell you when it comes to this that I've been bugging the life out of him to get on here. And it's just because I'm like, if I want to get better at this, I need to do it. I need to get out there. So just take action. It will be scary. You will have internal doubts. You will shit your pants. You might put cartoon poos up on the presentation, but you've got to do it. It's the only way you will improve. So just take action. That's my number one. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, by the way.
One last question, Joe, before you finish there. Because, again, we were talking about it earlier, about that purpose, and that's such a hard thing, I guess, for anybody to try and find their true purpose. Where would you look to start in trying to find where your purpose lies? Because I'm a firm believer in as soon as you found that, eternal happiness is there, and I've found that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great question. It's a hard thing because I think we put so much, Stephen Bartlett, again, someone I'll read a lot of, I think we put so much emphasis on, like, finding your purpose. And I think sometimes if we think about it, like, finding it, like, it's something external. Like, it becomes like this challenge, like, where's my purpose? I need to find my purpose. I need to find that. What I would say, I don't think you find it. I think you just know. Like, for me, it was that feeling of, when I was job hopping, I was doing lots of different things, right? So I was trying things is definitely one, right? You've got to try things. I remember I was doing some of the property stuff, and I was looking into it, and it was great, and I took loads of, like, wins and things from it, but it wasn't making me feel as fulfilled as this does. So it's a difficult thing to answer, to say in terms of finding, but what I would say is just do as many things as you can, and then you'll know. Because often as well, what you'll find is often a lot of people's experiences is what shapes where they go anywhere. So for me, this feeling of struggling with mental health has then stemmed this desire to help people with mental health. And we hear about it a lot, like people who've often the best counsellors in certain areas of something they've experienced themselves. So it's, again, I suppose it's looking at that point where the lady said as well was sometimes reshaping events in terms of what they've actually given you, and that might be hard. Like, it was hard in terms of going through all them experiences that I did with my mental health and the suicidal thoughts, and I had a breakdown and my mum in tears and everything. But if it hadn't have been for them, I wouldn't be studying now. So actually, you know what? Yeah, I am grateful for it because it's shaped me in a way. So
spot on, guys. Give Joe a massive, massive, massive round of applause.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you.